Andrew Cuomo must resign, 100%. Not only has he played a crucial role in essentially covering up data about how many people have passed away from COVID in nursing homes and long-term care facilities in New York State for political gain for himself, but when people in the Democratic Party in New York at the state level have criticized him, he has gone out and literally threatened and bullied them and basically abused them over that stance. I want to play you a clip of an interview of Ron Kim. He was on The View earlier today, and he noted how Cuomo and his staff have been threatening him for speaking the truth about Cuomo's failures.
8 phone calls from the governor and his staff, and I realized that he's continuing to ask me to cover up for his secretary, and I realized that at that point I needed to get an attorney, which I did over the weekend.
No, Assemblyman, this is personal for you. Your Queens district has been hit hard by the coronavirus, and your uncle actually passed from presumed COVID in a nursing home last year. Mayor de Blasio called this story, quote, classic Andrew Cuomo, and said the bullying is nothing new. In fact, there are reports that you weren't the only lawmaker to receive a call like this. Has Governor Cuomo made threats of retaliation like this before, to your knowledge? And why do you think it was so long for people to finally come to this story?
Yeah, Cuomo is an abuser. He has abused his powers, and abusers are cowards, and he's worse than TJ Ducklo. And the governor's abuse is not unique to me, and I'd like to point out that his staff even has previously called 3 of my colleagues, who are young women, F the New York Times. But because the verbal violence against women is normalized, it's barely caused a stir. So I'm going to use this time today to highlight it, though, because there are outspoken women in New York State who've taken this abuse as well and don't get the support that they rightfully deserve.
Assemblyman, I'm from Florida, and I think like a lot of our viewers, I don't know the backstory or the nuances or history here, but Governor Cuomo says he's had a long and hostile relationship with you. And a senior aide who says he was in the room with Cuomo during the call claims you're lying about the conversation. He also said it was part of a years-long pattern of lies by you against this administration. How do you respond to that? What's your response?
It's a classic Cuomo deflection straight out of the Cuomo playbook. And unfortunately, this playbook won't save the governor from the truth, which is that his administration's decision to force nursing homes to accept COVID patients, as you mentioned earlier, while handing out legal and criminal immunity. And then the subsequent cover-up of the true...
And so that was really powerful there. You know, Ron Kim is saying, look, I represent a district hit very hard by this pandemic, and I represent a community hit very hard. And my uncle, you know, on a personal level, lost his life to this crisis. And then I have a Democratic governor lying and distorting and covering up information to protect himself and serve himself politically. And I'm going to speak out about it. I'm going to speak out about it. Party be damned, it's the right thing to do. And he's getting threatened about it. He's getting abused and bullied about it. Lawyers have to be brought in. He needs a lawyer for some goddamn reason, because it's that dangerous to speak the truth against, you know, Andrew Cuomo and the Democratic Party corporate elite in New York State. Absolutely bonkers stuff. And as he notes in this clip here, he's not the only one that's gotten this hate. And this didn't just start, you know, with COVID and with the cover-up at the nursing homes. This goes beyond and before that. And it notes that, you know, on multiple occasions, he's called young women of color in particular, effing idiots, or at least his staff did. And there were no consequences for his staff when they did that, meaning that Cuomo and his top aides have sort of created and perpetuated this pattern of silence and bullying and threats that really stultify actual transparency and openness that the people of New York State deserve. I want to read you a tweet here. This is from Alessandra Biaggi, one of the women insulted by Cuomo staff. She says, at New York, Governor Cuomo didn't apologize when his top aide called us effing idiots because Cuomo encourages this behavior. Most of our colleagues and leaders in government never said a word to condemn Rich Azzopardi. I won't let that happen to Ron Kim. Cuomo's behavior is toxic, full stop. 100%. Andrew Cuomo needs to go. Look, I know some Democrats who liked Cuomo because he got a lot of good and I would say unearned coverage early on during this crisis, feel like, this has turned so quickly and feel like it's being used to excuse the failures of Republicans in other parts of the country. And I'm not doing that. You guys know me. I criticize Republicans more than Democrats. I've criticized Ron DeSantis and Texas officials, for example. But this really is awful. And yes, some of this is driven by Donald Trump. Much of it was. Donald Trump's federal failures made a hard job even harder for governors and mayors and local officials everywhere. No one reasonable will deny that. But none of that changes the fact that Cuomo lied to the people of his own state and to officials at the federal level about the true devastation happening in his state around COVID for political gain or to prevent political loss, all while being hailed as this hero and selling books and winning awards and having great memes made about him and having his brother give fawning interviews about him on CNN. And then when good, hardworking, progressive Congress people at the state level, state senators and state assembly people call him out, they get threats. This isn't about Republican versus Democrat. New York is a deeply blue state. Like, basically everyone in the assembly and in the state senate are Democrats. Like, Cuomo is not going to be replaced by a Trumper if you throw him out. This is an opportunity to hold him to account, and you're not really going to empower the Republican Party doing so. Cuomo needs to resign. If Democrats, at the state level, but also nationally, want to think they're different from Trumpers and from the MAGA movement and from the Republican cult, when their leaders do evil, those leaders must be opposed. Cuomo did evil. He's got to go.